Shane, Ole Miss again, Lane Kiffin, the Lane train. We got him one more time here at SEC Media Days in a smaller room. But the standouts for me here, Shane, he talks about the quarterback competition. We all want to know, is it Jackson Dart? Is it going to be Luke Altmaier, the guy that was there last year already? But let me ask you this, because this is something that we kind of rehashed with it was one of the interviews we did down there. But anyway, it's, how do you think NIL factors into this? Because, Jackson Dart, the transfer, he's making all this money. I know Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's not taking orders from anybody, but you got to think at some point. I don't know if pressure's the right word, but how do you think that NIL money influences playing time at all in Oxford?
It's hard not to. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the old, like the Pee Wee football team. If one of the coaches bought the uniforms, most likely, the kid's going to get a little more playing time than he probably deserves. So it feels kind of like that. Like, you have to address that elephant in the room, because this is going to be a part of college football for the rest of our lives, and you don't want to be the one university that promised you something and you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So right. I would sense there would be a little obligation to play these kids, especially the ones with the larger NIL contracts. Not to mention the fans. Think about it. You're paying Dart all this money, but with that comes expectations from that kid. And if you're having a bad game and Dart's not in there, well, as a common fan, I've got the problem. The problem is we don't have our guy in there. And then now, coach looks like an idiot. So even though he may not have won the job, or maybe he didn't grasp the playbook, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you got to take into account. But when it's in the throes of things and on SEC Saturday, it's hard not to get a little emotional if your guy's not on the field.
Yeah, and maybe I'm just looking too much into this, Shane, but just imagine a business, whoever the hell is paying Jackson Dart, I have no idea, but let's say it's some business, and then you give him all this money and he doesn't even play this year. What happens when Ole Miss, the next transfer cycle, they're like, hey, we can get this guy, but we're going to need NIL money. And there goes, do you think they'll be like, well, hell, I paid for this one guy last year. He didn't even touch a field. You know what?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these boosters and fans, they think they know what's right for this university, just like I do. I'm a Tennessee homer, and for a long time, I kept saying a certain quarterback shouldn't have been on the field, but nobody listened to me, and we kept losing games, So it's hard because there's that fan aspect, but the booster aspect is when you're putting your hard-earned money into this. You're taking a gamble on this kid. You're taking this kid is taking us to the promised land, and if he doesn't get on the field, you immediately get upset with the coach. And then the next time that coach comes to me asking for money, I'm a little bit more hesitant, because the last time I did you a favor, you didn't scratch my back.
And it just feels like this quarterback decision looms so big for Ole Miss. Every single person here, we're about to play the clip. Lane Kiffin, defensive lineman Cedric Johnson, receiver Jonathan Mingo, and offensive lineman Nick Broker, all asked about the quarterbacks. They're not giving anything away here, but we all know what a quarterback-friendly system this could be. They've got to get this right with all these moving pieces. Otherwise, they stand no chance out here in the rugged SEC West. So let's kick it over to the Ole Miss contingent here.
And before you jump into this, I want you to know that we did not record this. We were not in the room, so that heavy breathing is not me. So stop tweeting at me. Every time there was a question coming out of a small room, they're like, damn, was Shane holding the camera there? That wasn't me.
You guys have been building momentum the right direction since your arrival at Ole Miss. What kind of things are you guys focusing on this offseason to continue to build on the strengths that you've developed since you've been there?
Well, we had to restart, really. Losing so many players and coaches, too. We lost half our staff, lost our strength coach, who was very critical to our success. So, that presents a lot of challenges that aren't just, okay, hey, we already got this thing going, and just keep doing what we're doing. So we've kind of had to restart that way.
Coach on the fourth row.
Say, Coach, what are the top 3 attributes that influence your selection of the quarterback?
timing, accuracy, and decision making in that decision. So decision making is so critical, but you got to have skill set too, and accuracy. But then the timing of it and guys that hold on to the ball too long. So those three, and obviously kind of the one that over everything is leadership too. But you can be a great leader and not be able to throw the ball very well. So you better have the other things too.
Coach in the front row here.
Jackson Dart, some elements of his game have drawn some comparisons to Matt Corral. Have you seen that?
I could see that a little bit, but Matt did such a great job in so many areas, and Jackson's still young, and but Jackson did a good job coming in. That's not easy, and we expect these guys to just come in and be great. And everybody nowadays forgets their age. They're finishing their freshman year in his instance, or Michael Trigg that came from the same school. So we got a lot of work to do and have great expectations for him.
Coach, to your left.
You got a new defensive coordinator, obviously, with Durkin going to A&M. So twofold, what was a DJ Durkin defense like, and what's the differences for you guys this offseason so far learning the new defense?
I feel like his defense, it was pretty good. We were kind of locked in our 3-down situation. But I feel like we did what we could. We did what we had to do, and we did everything we could. And I feel like with the new defensive coordinator, CP, he was already there. So I feel like him stepping up, for us, it was just like welcoming not a new guy in. It would be different. We had a completely new guy. So I feel like him just stepping in, we already knew him. We already loved CP. So it's just like, hey, you're the guy. You're the guy now. And I feel like he's bringing in a lot more aggression. It's going to be a lot more fun for everybody. He has a lot more packages. We're going to be a lot more multiple. So I feel like everybody's going to have fun.
Right to your left.
Yeah, when you say you won 10 games, that's a blueprint. What, I guess this offseason, have you seen specifically that gives you confidence that you guys are ready to take even another step past what you've already done?
I feel like the depth that we got. I mean, we got so many guys now that can do what the next or the starting guy is doing. So I feel like if I get tired, I got another guy behind me that's doing the same thing, or I got Tavis right next to me who can eat just like I can. So I feel like the depth, and it's just breeding competition. So the next man's making me better, and I'm making him better. It's the same with our quarterbacks. Like, we don't know who this guy's going to be, but it's whoever it's going to be, they're going to be at their best because they're bringing out the best in each other.
Seems like a common thread with a lot of schools is you have a quarterback competition between somebody who was on the team last year and somebody who's arrived via the transfer portal. Ole Miss, no different with Altmaier and Jackson Dart. What have you seen from your quarterbacks, and especially Jackson? If he were to win the job, what do you think he would bring to the offense?
I feel like he would bring a lot of energy. He's very energetic. He brings a lot of energy. He's really has a really strong arm. He could throw that thing deep. But I feel like whoever the guy's going to be, like I said, he's going to be at his best. Like Luke, he brings a lot to the table. Jackson brings a lot to the table. And they're friends also, but they know at the end of the day, like, one of us has to get this spot. I'm going to make you better, and you got to make me better. So.
We have another question.
It's a good battle. You got Jackson and Luke, both of them young quarterbacks. Both of them been working pretty hard the whole all season. So it's always a blessing to have two quarterbacks instead of one. You got two people you can depend on. So I've been getting my chemistry down with them this all season. And whoever the coaches pick at the end of the fall count, I'll be behind them. But for me, my job doesn't change. My job is to get open and catch the ball. So it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. The goal remains the same.
You mentioned the quarterback battle. What are the differences that you've seen between Jackson and Luke? Not from a negative standpoint, but just the differences in ability or just things that you're seeing during this quarterback competition.
They're pretty much similar. Their games are like they can both mobile. They both accurate throwing. Got a good feel for the defense. It's really kind of hard to pick them apart. It's probably something you just gotta pick apart during the course of fall count.
It seems like Ole Miss has added a lot of veteran players in the transfer portal who are competing to be on different spots on offense. What's it like integrating veteran players, from other systems and working with them and sort of helping bring along guys that maybe have played as much college football as you?
It's fun. You know, the transfer portal has brought in other receivers. You know, it's good to have experience. So, you know, we lost a lot of people last year. We're losing Braylon and John. So we got a lot of young guys. So it's good that we have other receivers that came in from different schools that have playing experience. So it won't be so much pressure on the younger guys. So bringing in transfer portal is good and bad. It's not really bad, but it's good to have people around you. But at the end of the day, the goal is the same. So you can't really just look at it as another guy coming in. You just got to look at it. We're trying to win. So to make sure everybody on the same page.
Replacing Matt Corral is obviously going to be one of the challenges for the Ole Miss offense this year. There are a couple contenders to be the new quarterback. What have you seen from the quarterback competition as one of the stalwarts of the offense?
Yeah, no, it's been really cool to see. You know, they've competed really well with each other, really helped each other grow, and you know, done things the right way. You know, they have competed, but you know, at the same time, they've kept the relationship on and off the field, and you know, it's been really fun to see them both get better and keep like the same level of friendship off the field.
To your left on the second row.
Joe Cook, WAPT in Jackson. Nick, just talk about the continuity you guys have on the offensive line and how important it is, you know, in this day and age with transfer portal. You guys got lots of new faces on both sides of the ball. But with that continuity, do you think the offensive line unit can be the unit to lead this group this year?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, we have a lot of guys coming back. I think we returned 4 starters, and Mason's coming in as well. You know, he's really fit in like a glove with us. You know, he's done a really great job of really, you know, meshing in with us. And like you said, there's a lot of new guys, but, you know, we're kind of, you know, an older group now. A lot of us have been playing for a couple of years now, and, you know, it's really, you know, our time to kind of lead the team.
The quarterbacks get a lot of the attention, but the running game has been one of the reasons why Ole Miss's offense has been so potent under Coach Kiffin these last couple of years. You bring in some new running backs, but I imagine the expectation is that you guys are still going to try to attack on the ground as effectively as you have in the past?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we were very fortunate, you know, last couple of years we had Snoop and Ely, and this year, you know, we have Zach and Dew, and, you know, even Quinshon Judkins, Kentrell Bullock. You know, we've got a really good group of running backs that we're really, you know, excited about. And, you know, offensive line-wise, you know, as long as we can open up holes for those guys, you know, they have the ability to hit home run plays really whenever.
All right, last team to hit on, Shay, Mizzou again. You know, that very thankful for the time they gave us, Coach Drinkowitz.
Before we get off Ole Miss, I got to ask you, Mike, with all these transfers and stuff, you know, every year is going to be a different year. And I was trying to think, does it not kind of remind you of Last Chance U? Like, Ole Miss is an SEC Last Chance U. Like, you get all these kids from these different schools with one last opportunity, trying to make it to the NFL, not get an SEC gig or something like that. But don't you feel like it kind of has that vibe? Every season's different because you got 10, 15 people you didn't have the last year?
Yeah, and I think that's why there's some, you know, consternation. It was Brad Logan. That's who I was trying to think of before. But he's sitting here saying, well, hell, they're not recruiting the state of Mississippi. They're not, you know, this is the bread and butter of the Ole Miss program. So I wonder if there's people around this thing. And, hell, we talked to other people say Lane Kiffin's got 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
You know, you have to wonder. I mean, Ole Miss fans don't want to hear that, but you have to wonder if there's some validity to it because of the way he's building this thing. I mean, they're going to have to do this all again next year potentially with all the pieces they lose, you know? So
seriously, it feels like when my first job at a grocery store and you go out there and you're restocking the shelves and you face the cans. You bring them all toward the front, you know, and it looks nice and pretty, but it's completely hollow in the back. You know what I'm saying? If somebody takes 2 cans of Bush's baked beans, which is now the SEC beans, you know, and you see there's nothing behind there, then you're like, oh shit, how did this happen? The cupboard's bare. So that's the only concern I have with Ole Miss is that this is just it's a fugazi, you know?
It's like a house of cards, you know?
Exactly. That's the only thing I worry about this program is if Lane is playing, like if he can do this every year for the next 10 years, great. You know, we're going to win a lot of ball games down Ole Miss. But if he ever bows out, you know, and the portal thing stops, you know, Ole Miss is going to be in some short, shallow water, you know?
He's one TikTok away from running out of town. You know what?